Hello and welcome to this video in which we are going to cover the material required for the Microsoft Word Lab number 2. So first of all, in the zip file that is uploaded on Google Classroom, please download the zip and extract it, and you will obtain a folder that looks similar to this one, except that you don't have this formatted file.doc. You have a PDF file that is open on this right hand side. You should have also a folder with the raw material, an images folder containing 4 images that will be inserted within the document, as well as this raw doc file that contains the text, so that you don't have to type it from scratch. And you can create a copy of it if you don't want to re-download the file in case you make any mistake on it. And then open it with Word so that you can start applying the steps that I'm showing here in this video. So let's name it formatted. Okay. And let's open it so that we can format the raw text and make it exactly as we see here in the PDF file. In the PDF file, actually, we also have the steps needed to accomplish the lab. You may notice that the steps required for this lab number 2, also include to review the tasks that have been done in the lab number 1. We're gonna ignore most of them since they have been registered already in a previous video, maybe except the multi-level list. We are gonna redo it using the heading 1, 2, and 3 styles, and we are going to add also the table of contents just to get a feeling of it. So mainly we're going to start with the Lab 2 content, and we are going to do the minimum required so that we can have the same output as indicated in this document here. So let me dock this window on the left hand side so that I can have my files side by side. I'm going to start with the first task of lab number 2, which is creating the section break. As explained in the class, the section break is needed so that we can have this nice effect between the first 2 pages and the third one, where the first 2 pages are in portrait mode or orientation, whereas the 3 other pages of the same document are in, or 4 pages are in landscape mode. So this is one of the differences between these pages. The other difference is that this page is numbered with Roman numbers, whereas these pages are numbered with Arabic numbers. We also have different headers in these sections. So so let's do the section break. Actually, it's done between after adding a cover page and after this page here where we have the table of content and this text here. So I don't see the text of the title. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna add it here in this document. Okay, so Control V. You notice that I copied the text with a different font style and a different font maybe. So I can click on this button here to say that I want to keep the text only. Afterwards, I can format the title really as I like. So below this title, I will have the table of content, the TOC, and a table of figures. that I'm gonna add automatically later on, but now I want this text here to start on the next page with a nice section break between them. Do not care about this text here because it's in the header of this section, so we're gonna add it later on. Okay, it's not part of the text, it's in the header because it's repeated on all the pages. So to do a section break, we go to Layout, Breaks, Section Break. I hit this button so that my text go to the next page, and we will have a nice blank space between them. I can, to double check that I created it correctly, I can hit this button here from the paragraph tab in the home menu, and then I can see that I have a clear section enters. The effect of this, as I told you, is that we can now, by double clicking on the header or footer, we can enter different values. We have footer for section 1 and footer for section 2, and the same header as for section 1 and header for section 2. For instance, if I want to add this text here, but I don't want to have it displayed on the first page, I can click here and then add it. But notice that if I add it right now, I will have it also on the first page. Why? Because this header here is linked to the previous one, and because this button here, same or linked to previous section, is clicked. So I can do Control Z, and then I can click on the header of the second section. I can click on dissociate the link, make it different than the previous, so unlink to previous. Now the button is not pressed, and then when I insert something here, it won't appear on the first page. However, it will appear on all the subsequent pages of the same section, which is section 2. Once this is done, I can hit enter here. I can hit enter once again there, and then I can center these 3 lines at once, and then I will obtain the header. So I did it on purpose so that we can track the differences between these 2 sections from now on. Otherwise, if it was just about the orientation of the page, it is sufficient to click wherever I want. So I'm gonna zoom out so that you can see both pages at once. I'm gonna hit my cursor at whatever position on this page, and then from layout, I will choose orientation and then landscape. Doing so on this section, this will change the orientation on this page, but not on the previous ones. So on all the pages of this section, but not on the previous one. Imagine that we have a 4th page in this section that we wanted to get back to portrait. In this case, it's quite simple. We can, yeah, you already guessed it. We can add a page break of type section break at this space here, and then since it is a section break, we will obtain a 3rd section called section 3, in which we can make the orientation once again portrait. This want to change the middle section, which will remain landscape. Perfect. Now we can also take care, since we are dealing with section breaks, we can also take care of the numbering, page numbering of these sections. So I'm going to double click on the footer of the section 1, and I'm going to use the Roman numbers with lowercase. So as we already said in the first video, there are 3 ticks or positions in the header and the footer, usually by hitting the tab button from the keyboard. We are directly redirected to the middle of the line, or with tab once again, we are redirected to the end of the line. These are predefined tabulations or tab ticks that we can use and actually we can add our own if we want a specific tab at a specific position. I'm going to use the menu page number, current position, and then I'm going to hit a plain number, which I will change subsequently to make it in Roman number. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to select this number, hit right click on it, and then I'm going to change the format of the page number. I'm click on it, and instead of the Arabic numbers, I'm going to pick up the Roman numbers. Okay, so please note that these numbers here are named the Arabic numbers, and we can also have the Arabic numbers, which are the Hindi numbers, which are 1, 2, 3 that we are using in Arabic writing. So I'm going to pick up the Roman numbers, small letters, and I'm going to say OK. This will number my page with Roman numbers, as you may notice here. Okay, perfect. This won't influence my next page unless my next page footer is linked to the previous page. Now, once I click on this button here, link to previous, this will dissociate the link with the previous section. I can remove the number from this position. It will be removed from all the other pages, and then I can go to the beginning of the line and then go to page number and insert this nicely looking accent bar page numbering. So this looks exactly like what we have here. We can say 2 off the total number of pages, or we can use a slash to say it's 2 over the total number of pages. And now the question is how to insert the total number of pages. We should go to quick parts, field, and then from this list you pick up number of pages. This will give you the total number of pages in the document, including the cover page, the other pages, and so on. If you want to consider the number of pages in your current section, then you can use this field name here, section pages. Insert the total number of pages in this section. If we validate by OK, we pick up the format 1, 2, 3 Arabic numbers, and then we say OK. This will insert the total number of pages in this document. As you may notice, if I go back with my arrow, left arrow, I will see that the number is highlighted. The same goes for the other number here. So these are automated fields, as usual, that will be automatically incremented and dealt with by Word. So I have a tiny inconsistency here because my numbers start at 2. This is not a big deal. We can do the same thing. I'm going to double click. I'm going to select this number here. I'm going to right click on it, and then I'm going to say format page number, and then I can ask it to start by 1 with 1. I'm going to say OK, and now my numbers are coherent. I have the first page over 3, second page over 3, and so on and so forth. I have a different page layout on the next section. I have a different footer and a completely different header for these pages. Just to make sure that everything is fine, I can hit Ctrl-Enter to add a new page break. Now the total number of pages has been increased to 4. Okay, Ctrl-Z, and then I will make sure in this case that my numbers are automatically inserted. I have a full grade for my midterm exam. Let's get back to the list of to-dos. So as for the second part, page layout, we already created different orientation, but we haven't dealt with the different size for the page or a different margin. Actually, the margins are the zones that are displayed from the left border of the page from the right border of the page, from the top border of the page, and so on and so forth. So these are the margins. Usually you can increase or decrease the sizes of the margins according to your style, to your printer constraints mainly, because many printers cannot print on exactly the edge, the top edge or left edge of the page, but maybe just after half a centimeter or so. So the margins sometimes are just a technical constraint or simply a formatting constraint that is up to your taste or a format. So to control the margins, you can go to Layout, and then from here you can pick up whatever margin you have. So you have the narrow margins when you have plenty of text. The normal is kind of a medium margin, I would say. You have the moderate, the wide, and so on and so forth. You can also pick up the size of your page, such as A4, A3, and so on and so forth. This will also influence the quantity of text that you see on the screen and how this will be reflected effectively on the paper when you are printing it out at a certain printing service. So to make sure that the look and feel of your document is exactly as you see it on the screen, please use the exact size of paper. Now let's switch to the cover page. Actually, for the exam, just to close the discussion about the paper layout or page layout, all that you need is to read the instructions and to apply the right size and margins on the given section. So imagine that for this section, I want to give it a narrower margin, so I can do it. Notice that this won't alter the margins on the first section. Okay, so just to give you a demo, I can also change the size maybe of the first page from letter to executive, and this will give me a even narrower page width this time for my text. Okay, so it's quite easy, and know that it depends on the section where you are. It's a property of the section, of the set of pages, that exactly like the orientation does, so that you can change it by section. As for the cover page, we can insert it from very simply from insert, page, and then cover page. Maybe on your PC you are seeing a different menu. This is because I'm on half of the screen. If I maximize my screen, I will see these buttons here unfolded. So I can go to insert, and then I will see the cover page button right there. If I'm working on half of the screen, the menus will be wrapped, so I cannot see all the commands. So let's go to page, cover page, and then you have plenty of predefined types. The one that is used in this document here to the right is the filigree. So once I click on it, I will have this template, very nice template that I can fill in with whatever values I have. Anyway, we're going to do it together because it's a bit tricky when it comes to inserting the text. So if you copy a certain text from outside your document and you want to paste it inside your document, sometimes it appears in a different font and style. To avoid it, you have to click on this menu here and to pick up Keep Text Only. Another accident that may happen is when you select by hand your whole line and you accidentally select the white space that is after the document title. If you want to see what's happening here, with this button, Show Hide Non-Printable Characters, This white space is actually an enter, which separates these two lines and give them different style. So if I put my text instead of that one with Ctrl V, this will remove the nice separator between the title and the subtitle and will change the format drastically. So even if I say keep text only, anyway, I will have a collated text and I will lose the original format of the document. So I'm going to do Ctrl Z, and instead of selecting with the white space, I'm going to hold the Shift key, back arrow or left arrow, and then when I hit Ctrl V, only the text is inserted, the enter is not deleted, and then I can pick up insert text only. Now I have my pretty printed text inside my document. Of course, the number of lines here is greater because I already shrink the size of the paper by choosing from layout, size, the executive size. If I go back to letter, I should have something like this one here, except if the margins were different. I'm going to do the same for this text here, just to give you an idea of how to do it. So normally if you just click on the text and you hit Ctrl V, it should be fine. You just say keep text only. Otherwise, if you selected the whole line with the enter, then you have to do the trick that I told you about. Once this is done, we can switch to the last tasks of this Lab 2. So we want different page numbering and format for each section. It's already done. We want to insert quick parts for the page number and the total number of pages. This is already done. Now it comes to insert figures with captions and link them to the heading of the chapters. Okay, so besides that, we are going to also insert cross references to the figures so that we can say in our text, let's say somewhere in our text we can say as shown in figure 2.1, like here for instance. So if we have this text here, in figure 2.1, the abscissa of the points are blah 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 blah. So the figure will be created as a hyperlink. The cross-reference to the figure will be created as a hyperlink. So I can click on it to go to the figure itself, like you see here. And actually, even if you remove this figure or and insert another one, so you will notice that the figure reference is corrupted. So you will remember to adjust it. Otherwise, if you insert figures before it or after it, and it happens that the figure number changes, the figure number within the text will change automatically. It is sufficient to refresh all the feeds, automated feeds of your document by selecting all the text, Ctrl A, and then F9 to update the whole text. So now let's insert these pretty nice figures. Well, to insert the figure, it's at the end of before the word pivot table, so it's right before this part here. I'm gonna hit an enter just to create a nice space for this figure, and then I have two options. Either I can click on insert, I can pick up from illustrations if a picture and then go to a picture on my hard drive. I can Google them online if I don't have them. I have plenty of other features actually, including taking screenshots from my document. Okay, for instance, I can screen capture this other window and then I can insert it with one click here. It's really nice. I'm gonna remove it, of course, and I'm gonna insert the provided pictures from the files folder. So I'm going to pick up from my Google Drive. I'm going to until I reach the folder where I have the raw text and the images. You may absolutely have a different location for these files. So go ahead and look up for them. And here is my figure. So this is way number 1. Okay, so now I have my figure well inserted in my document. Imagine I want to insert the other one. I'm going to show it to you how it can be done in a different way. So it's right after the sentence, per month order amount, so here. So there is a nice space here. And then if I have the file right beside my document, okay, I can drag and drop it. So I can add this window here, and then I can drag and drop the image to this position. Okay, actually I'm going to use the right image, but please notice that if my cursor is blinking on another line, let's say between these two words, if I drag and drop my image, it will appear between the two words and it won't appear at its right place. So with Ctrl Z, I'm going to undo this action. I'm going to click at the exact right place where my figure should be inserted, and then I'm going to drop it from the Files menu. As I told you in a class, figures should never be shrinked or stretched from the sides, left sides or bottom or top. You should always use the corner handle so that the aspect ratio of the image is kept and preserved, which means actually the image remains with its same proportions. Now when it comes to adding the captions for the figures, so before adding the caption, I'm going to center my image here. I'm going to center the other one. And actually I can add the figure caption, right-click, insert caption, or you can go to references, insert caption. By the way, this is where I can find the two other important buttons, which are cross-reference, so that I can refer to my image within my text, such as done here. And I can also use this button here to insert the table of contents on the second page here. So in order to have correct captions from the beginning, notice that those captions are preceded by the number of their current section. So for example, this figure is the first figure in the section 2. That one is the first figure in the section 3. And that one is the second figure in the section 3. So to be able to insert them in this way, I need first to number my titles. Let me do it with you. So I'm gonna very quickly apply the styles heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3 to these lines. I'm gonna increase the size of my window. I'm gonna use this button here to see all the styles, and I'm gonna start applying heading 1 here. I'm gonna apply heading 1, heading 2 on this line, heading 1 here, and then for pivot table, I think it's a heading 1. Yes, it's number 3, heading 1. Then for these lines here, per month, per salespersons, and per salesperson in region, these are numbered using and styled using heading 2, heading 2, and heading 2. You notice that I did nothing for the numbering right now. I simply applied my styles. By the way, the to-do is also a heading 1 because it's numbered 4 in the document. You can see it in the document right there. So now when it comes to numbering these styles, let me create a multi-level list numbering because I want these styles to relate to each other, okay? So I'm gonna do it, but right after I insert the table of content at this stage. Because once you apply the 3 famous styles, heading 1, 2, 3, or like you can even go up to heading 6 or 7. So once you insert these styles, you can go to references, table of contents, and then you can insert a nicely looking table of content just because you applied those styles on these styles on those lines. Okay. Now I want these lines to be numbered. So as I told you, to do so we have to do it from the multi-level list creation. We did it already in lab number 1, but because it's important, we want you to do it once again, this time with a predefined list of styles. So I'm going to click on the heading 1 line here, and then I'm going to go to multi-level list, define a multi-level list. I'm going to hit the more button. I think the numbering is quite simple. It's just 4, 1, 2, 3, very simple, and then we have the number of the section beside the number of the subsection. All the numbers are in Arabic numbers. So I'm gonna add this one. I'm gonna remove the parentheses. I'm gonna add a nice space, and I'm gonna link it to heading 1. For the second level, I'm going to pick up the style heading 2. I'm going to pick up the Arabic numbers, but I'm going to hit the home button to go to the beginning. I'm going to pick up include level number from level 1, and then I'm going to separate them by a period. So now I have numbers like 1.1. This level 2 is linked to heading 1, which is exactly what I want. Let's hit OK. And now all the titles are numbered exactly as desired. Let's do now the figures captions. So to insert a caption, as I told you, we can do right-click insert caption, or from references caption. We're going to do it the other way from the other menu, which is the references menu. So you can write whatever text you want. You can pick up the label, and you can also, in the numbering here, you can include the chapter number, which is usually you can precise the chapter start with which is style. So you can pick up whatever style you want here, but notice that the list of styles only show the headings from 1 to 9. By the way, this is why we are changing the use style from what we did in lab 1. So instead of using our own style, chapter style, section style, and subsection style, we're using heading 1, 2, 3, the native styles here, so that we can actually benefit from this feature. So after choosing the format, the separator, we can validate with OK, and now we see that this figure should be labeled as figure 2 from section 1, or sorry, the figure 1 from section 2. Let's add the title for this figure, which is here, a graph showing the intersection of f of x, etc., etc. So I can insert it here. You notice that the text is inserted as a raw text, so that I have to format it manually myself. I'm going to say OK. And now I can format this to here to superscript using Control Shift and the equal sign, which is actually Control Shift plus. So here I'm done. I'm going to add a caption for the other figure using the other method, which is references, insert caption. I have now the figure number 1 from section number 3, and I can give it the desired title like what's typed here, a bar graph. I can insert it there. I can validate it with OK. I have a nice label. Of course, the image is a little bit smaller so that I can reduce its size. By the way, talking of which, to which extent you expand or reduce the size of a certain image, my advice is to compare the text that is written within the figure with the text that surround the figure itself. Once you see that they almost match, you can be satisfied and say, okay, that's it, I'm not gonna change its size anymore. But if you reduce its size too much so that it's readable, not readable with respect to the surrounding text, or if you overdo it, if you really enlarge your extensively your image, then this will maybe hurt the space, available space on the page, and will be useless actually. So now it comes the last part, which is cross-referencing a certain figure. Okay, I'm gonna remove this text here and I'm gonna add the cross-reference. I'm gonna click on it, and instead of using the numbered items, which are the headings that I have in my document, I'm gonna pick up from this menu by navigating down using the scroll bar, the figure reference type, and I can pick up whatever figure that is available in my document. Please note that instead of picking up the entire caption that you see here, you can pick up only the label and the number to be inserted. If I click insert, now I see that the word figure 2.1 is written here. The field is grayed somehow. It is highlighted in gray, so it means that it is an automated field, and Word is showing me that I can hold the Control key and then click on the bookmark, or what we call the cross-reference, so that I can go to the reference directly. Okay, so by the way, just as a quick test, I can insert a new image before this image. It's not required, honestly, so I can very quickly copy this image here. Let's say I can add it there in the document. Paste. It's not recommended to do so because the images lose their quality in the PDF file, so maybe the original image is better to drag it and drop it here. I'm gonna center the image. I'm gonna insert a caption very quickly with right click, and this image will become the 2.1 image, and absolutely the other one will become, like, I'm gonna name it new image. It's not recommended at all to give such labels that do not mean a big thing for the readers. I'm just doing a demo here. So that image automatically switched to 2.2. Okay, nevertheless, this reference here did not change. It's not a big deal just because you need to update your document. So I'm going to select Control A to select the whole document. I'm going to hit F9. I'm going to ask to update the entire table of content, and all the other references will be automatically updated to reflect the new numbering of the figures. And by the way, this cross-reference here always refer to the same image. So no fear, your document is fully automated and la vie est belle. Let's check very quickly if we have any unhandled items. I think that's it. So